and we're streaming. Hello, and welcome to another episode of Improperly Packaged, a show where we unbox topics related to movies, TV, games, whatever. I am Jordan. With me is Luke. How are you doing today, Luke?
Doing really good. What is up, everyone? Getting crazy. Jordan's doing a jig, everyone, on audio.
Everyone on audio, that's right. Sorry. Subscribe to our YouTube, and you'll get all the fun.
You'll get something.
Whoa. Oh my gosh. I'm doing good, man. Just another
good.
This is a good week. You know, as far as nerd stuff goes, it's a good week. I don't know about everything else. We're still being ravaged by a virus, and you know, the economy isn't looking great. But as far as nerd stuff goes, you know, I'm feeling pretty good, especially video game stuff. We'll talk about it.
Yeah, I feel like everything's just adapted to like the new way we have to do things for now. And yeah, there's just so much more going on. Like no one would do this, but I would dare somebody to go back and like listen to our old shows like in March, and
oh god,
it's just like, well, there's not much going on. Sure hope these consoles come out in the fall. And now we're more like, well, we sure hope these consoles come out, but we have a lot more confidence now.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
And there's actually things happening. I mean, games are coming out. I will say it is a very tame game release season compared to a normal year.
Yeah, it's winding down, you know. It's winding down, and it's going to be probably the same next year. It'll just be winding up, and then we'll get into full swing probably in the next year or two. I don't know. But, you know, it is what it is. I am still streaming, but in that pursuit, I'm going to stop using this laptop that is by no means optimal for this sort of thing.
It's a teacher's laptop.
It is a teacher's laptop. It's my wife's, and
it's for teaching.
It's for teaching. But I went ahead and bit the bullet, and I bought a desktop. It's a entry. It'll basically do the trick. It's an entry level gaming PC. It has a dedicated graphics card and a pretty decent processor, and it'll more than be able to do the job with the whole streaming off console thing. You know, it's like if we were talking about
so you're running it from the console to the PC, and then PC's your streaming box.
Exactly. That's basically just doing the encoding. I'll probably use the graphics card to do most of that, whereas this computer.
That's what you like to do, anyways.
Yeah, I'm not.
So
I don't want to
You like controllers, anyways, so that works.
All of a sudden next week, oh my gosh, Luke, they were right all along. PC Master Race, Luke.
Oh my.
I doubt
that would be the day.
That would be the day. It's just like, what game would draw me to do that? No matter how high the frame rate, no matter how good the graphics, I don't know what game would draw me into.
You're a sucker for a Nintendo console. I know that.
I'm a sucker for a Nintendo.
What's your thing?
I like a controller in my hand. You know, I could go for a Kingdom Hearts.
Yeah, you can.
A Kingdom Heart, if you would.
All the Disney content go to Jordan.
Yeah, into my veins. But yeah, either way, that should make my life a lot easier as far as that stuff goes.
Yeah, that's really good.
Yeah, but yeah.
So I have a little silly, painful, whatever. So we have been doing a lot of remodeling and changing out the I guess it's called the door jamb. It's kind of weird because it's the closet, so it doesn't have that like piece that the door like pushes against. You know, when you close the door, there's like one way it can't go, and then the other way, obviously, you open it.
Yeah.
Well, this one, we're doing a folding door, so you don't need that little piece. And so I'm opening up. There's like a package where it's like 3 pieces. It's like the top threshold and then the 2 side pieces, and it's pre-cut, and you trim it, you know, to match your door. You know, some people have taller doors, some people have shorter doors. So, I'm ripping off the plastic, and the top piece is like in one end of it, and I have it up to where it's suspended in the air. Like it's all like, you know, that like tight wrapped plastic. And so I'm like cutting it open, and it's on the like the backside. So I'm holding it, like cutting it, and on the backside, so it slides down, and at an angle with the corner straight down, it hits me right in the big toe.
Ooh.
And yeah.
Ooh.
It sucked. I don't recommend it.
Does he have a...
So I may have a broken toe right now. I don't know.
Oh my God.
I think I'm okay. I'm able to move it around, and I don't have too much pressure. I wear boots a lot when I work, and I was not able to wear those today. It's time for the tennis shoes. It was like when I like push my foot forward, the like top of the shoe hit down on it, and it's like super sensitive. Anyways.
Jeez. Are you going to get that checked out?
Probably not, but
yeah,
I probably should.
It'll work itself out.
I think it's okay, right? I'll find out in 20 years.
And the toe was broken all along.
Oh, and it fell off.
Oh my God.
Luke walked it off one day. He looked back behind him and his toe had been left on the sidewalk.
I hate stories like that. There's stories like that legitimately happen, and it's just, so awful. The human body is
I've done so many things like that. I'm so prone to that. Like, I try to be careful, but I just do things, and then looking back, I was like, why did I do that? I picked up a log one time, and the like branch part of the log that I grabbed was rotten. So I'm like leaned over and grabbing it, and I grab it and like jerk it up, and the branch breaks, and I smack myself in the face with the branch.
Oh my God. You just go too long without hurting yourself. You gain a false sense of confidence. You're like, I'm probably not going to hurt myself. So. I didn't yesterday. Bam!
I'm thinking of so many more, but I'm going to stop now because I'm going to look more like an idiot every time I tell one of these stories.
A slapstick comedy. Just every day stepping
Mr.
on a rake.
Magoo level stupidity.
Mr. Magoo over here. Oh man, I spilled.
Except he doesn't get hurt, right? He just walks past the pain.
Yeah,
like other people are getting hurt around him.
Yeah, it's the blind guy thing, like Mr. Magoo and Don Quixote. He just like goes all over the place, and he's like, ah.
It's more like Inspector Clouseau, but I actually do get hurt, and he doesn't.
Inspector Gadget's like that, but he gets hurt, right?
Yeah.
There's a lot.
Clouseau just acts like it doesn't happen right after it happened.
Oh.
That's just the greatest.
Oh man. Interesting. Well, to hurting ourselves.
Crap that happens.
Yeah, the crap that happens when you're...
This Week in Pain.
Yeah. Is that a new element to our show?
This Week in Pain. Da-da-da. Sounds kind of like the Blendtec theme song.
Da-da-da-da. My hand. Will it blend?
Don't want to drop that on your toe.
Oh my God.
Go watch the old Blendtec commercials, anyone who doesn't understand that reference.
Yeah. Are they still going?
They are silly. I sure don't think so. That man would be pretty old by now. We were watching those like 15 years ago.
That's like the dawn of
And I feel like they were old then, too.
Absolutely. I mean, all right. So that now was literally like the beginning stages of YouTube.
Yeah, I want to say that was like 2006 or 7 we were looking at those. Something like that.
All right. So it's not looking good. Well.
It's not looking good.
I don't know. It looks like...
Maybe they're releasing them to YouTube straight up.
Yeah. Maybe. I don't know.
Oh, that was a YouTube only thing, wasn't it? They weren't even re-airing them.
It's crazy. I'm looking back and I see the date. It's like 13 years ago. It's like...
Oh my gosh.
Goodness gracious. I'm not seeing very many new episodes of Will It Blend. He blended a skeleton 8 years ago, so that's where the show went.
A real skeleton?
I don't know. I didn't watch it.
Bone dust. Don't want to breathe that in. Human bone dust.
Hold on.
Don't breathe that in.
Are we going to get in trouble for this? Hold on.
Probably.
Will it blend? That is the question.
All right, sorry. I just wanted to
jazzy commercial.
Yeah, I don't know
jazzy
if that's a skeleton for real. No. It's not a real skeleton. It's like it's like Halloween time.
It's like a biology class skeleton.
Yes, I would say so. Anyways, other than Will It Blend, what have you? It's your turn, Luke. What have you been watching / playing / listening to?
Oh. I should have prepared this earlier.
Classic.
What have I done?
This is another element of the show where you fumble through Spotify for a little bit to figure out what you actually have indeed been listening to.
There was some new songs. I'm just going to go through a couple here. Like Jimmy Eat World released a new single a little while back called 55. Or at least it's new to me. And it was really good. Man, they're just the best.
Oh,
Jimmy Eat
yeah.
World's
Oh,
just
yeah.
been good for so long. They're just like that steady thing in music, in like the punk emo, whatever you want to call it, genre indie. Also, the Used had a newer, I think it's a new song
The
called Cathedral
Used.
Bell that I've been listening to recently, and that's pretty good. So
The Used.
yeah, they actually have a new album. Heartwork. Yeah. So,
It would be hard work, wouldn't it?
yeah, it would. But they've been they've been releasing albums right along. They haven't really fallen off. They have a 2017 album, they have a live album 2016, 2014 new album, so
They are working.
yeah, they're staying with the times. So those are two good ones. Even Motion City, which is crazy because I thought they had stopped playing music. Motion City Soundtrack released a song called Crooked Ways, and that's a pretty good song. So
Dang, I'm gonna have to check this all out.
3 recommendations. Jimmy Eat World, the song name is 555, 555. I don't know what that means. And they use Cathedral Bell and Motion City Soundtrack's Crooked Ways. It's the name of that song. So
awesome. I'll check those out and have a nostalgia trip checking those songs out. New band I've kind of gotten into. I think they're pretty good. They're nothing too wild or different. It's just solid, kind of like I don't know. I'm trying to think of what it reminds me of. It's not like I won't want to call them rock. It's just a band, It's just like one of those things where like, oh, this is just like a band, There's nothing crazy. There's no synth. There's no techno. It's just a band, and they're solid. Vacation Manor. They are quite good. Listening to their album, Everything I Can't Say Out Loud. It's just solid stuff, man. I mean, nothing too crazy, It's just a solid band. Check it out.
sweet.
What a review of an album.
Sounds familiar.
I mean, they've been doing stuff for a while. They're not like ultra new or anything. They've been around since 2016. So,
yeah.
Been around the block for a few years.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
They are good. Yeah. They remind me of Acceptance.
Yeah. They're just
More
a band.
sound.
Just a good old band.
Just a band.
They're being a band.
So, I've been watching some of the normal stuff. Alone, some Brooklyn Nine-Nine. Alone, I didn't realize that the season we're on, season 7, actually aired back in July of this year. So the History Channel app on, I'm guessing on everything, but we have Apple TV, and if you log in with your cable, I don't know how many people have cable subscriptions, but maybe someone will let you use their login, because I don't think it really matters. I've never run into a lack of like devices being allowed to be signed in through the cable connection, but maybe there is. But yeah, if you log into the History app, if you are looking to watch along with us, season 7 I think is only on the History Channel app, and yeah, we're about halfway through with that, and it's kind of a strange season. I don't know. I don't feel as connected to the characters that I have in the other characters. Wow.
Yeah, I know.
Human beings who are going through a crazy situation. I don't know why I haven't felt as connected with them this season, but
I know what you mean. The characters.
yeah, it's not characters at all.
I get it.
That's disrespectful to the people. I feel like we're humans. This isn't a game.
We're humans too.
This is our lives. But yeah, it's still a good show thow.
Good.
Some interesting things are happening. Where are you at in the show, Jordan?
So, okay, interesting thing. I had to kind of switch seasons. So now that you say that, I'm going to try to probably log back into the History Channel app. Because kind of the situation that happened with me was I was watching it on History Channel, and it like locked me out at a certain point. It was like, nah, you've done enough. And I just couldn't progress. So I stopped probably midway through season 2. Few crazy stuff happened, people hurting
Well,
themselves. People.
do you have Amazon Prime access?
I have Amazon Prime, but it didn't. It was a weird thing. Like when I started season 1 of Alone, it was on Prime, and then it was on not Prime, but this weird in between where it was like free with ads. And then like season 2 was gone, and then I was like, okay, I'll go to History Channel, and it was all there. And then I got locked out, and so then
Just when it turned September, this all happened.
yeah, pretty much. And then I went to Hulu, and on Hulu they have season 3 through 5 or 3 through 6, something like that. And so I was like, okay, I'll just start season 3, I guess, which is the one we're starting to mix things up a lot compared to season 1 and 2. But yeah, I'm a few episodes into season 3 right now, so I might experiment and try to go back to season 2. After I kind of gave up, I just looked up who won season 2. You know, I was like, well, who won? And so I just kind of looked it up on the internet at the end. So
it's quite a dramatic last scene.
Really?
Not scene, but last episode. Last couple of weeks or whatever, when the two of them are going as far as they can.
I'll have to try to get back and watch season 2, because I was like right at the point where you're like getting into it, you're starting to understand the characters a little bit. You know how it is. These real human people who are very much
characters,
real and alive.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I'll check it out again. What else you got?
So the big one this week is I have bought and have been working my way through Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 1 and 2 remake. And I am doing this thing where I am systematically going through every single level and doing all the challenges. I will not move on to the next level until I've finished all the challenges, which is proving to get more and more difficult as you get each level.
Oh no, we're all mixed up.
Do you remember the level in you played it quite a bit, didn't you?
Played 1 and 2 a lot, and played a little bit of 3, but it obviously underground.
There's the downhill level where you're like on a dam. Do you remember that one?
I think so. Again, it's been
you have to like pop
PS1.
the like what do you call them? The valves, and it like opens up the floodwaters.
Okay.
Yeah. I'm sure if you saw it, you'd remember it, but that one, it's challenging. There's been several that I've had to like look up YouTube videos. I'm just like, I don't know how to do this. It's kind of a interesting thing where if you can't do something, what you can actually end up doing is like completing other challenges and then increasing the stats on the skater. Like, I'm just playing with Tony Hawk right now, and if you increase like his airtime, it's crazy. Like he can jump so much higher than you can before. So
200 feet.
A lot of times you just like you like take it off some of the other ones, because you only have limited stat things you can use, but you just take it off that, increase speed and air only, and you'll be able to reach these areas, for like the secret tape, or in the one I was doing was like the popcorn bin. There's like the downtown area. But yeah, you just do that and you're able to finish it. And yeah, man, it's just I honestly had my doubts. I was like, I definitely want to buy this. And so I just like did, as soon as I think my friend actually reminded me that it was out, because I had forgotten when it was coming out.
Yeah.
It was September, but it's like, oh wow, that's already out. So I just like, yeah, I'm gonna buy it. I had like $10 in the Xbox store anyway, so it's only $30. Really honestly, it's a good deal for 2 games, I would say, that have been truly remastered, not just like HD re-released. Like they haven't gotten the full, Final Fantasy VII treatment, but they look so much better.
They look great.
They've actually like put new assets in. It's not just up-resing or something like that. They've actually like modernized the level, and they've even changed like the goals and some of the stuff to like be more modern. Like one of the silly examples I saw was, instead of the subway tokens, it's now subway. It's like, it literally looks like the New York subway, the little cards, which in the article I was reading, it's funny because those are about to be gone away, and people are just going to be using their cell phones to get on the subway soon.
Oh yeah, so, that's right.
They have something there. They'll probably only last a couple of years before it'll be outdated, but who really cares? It's just they've done a great job, and it's just it's been really, it's not only is it nostalgic, but I actually just am having fun.
Great.
Sometimes I find myself like trying to go back to a game. Like I really want to play this game because I know this was part of my childhood and I have great memories of it, and I'll like force myself to play it. But this one I'm actually really enjoying. So yeah, really good, really good remaster, and I'd recommend anybody who's a big fan of Tony Hawk. Well worth the money.
Question. So back in the day, you were quite good at Tony Hawk, from what I remember. When you jumped back into this, did some of that kind of come back to you, or?
Yeah,
was it
really did.
That's great.
There was a lot of muscle memory to like the, double kickflip to a nose grind to then a dark side grind, and it's all about the grinds, right? With the big score points.
Oh yeah, you're just grinding all over the freaking place. Just like real skateboarding.
I was able to get up to like 270,000 on a trick, so that's kind of my goal. I want to like see how far I can get up. It'll be interesting because this new game, it's so different than the old games. Completely tied online. There's a multiplayer element, which I haven't gotten to. I've kind of forced myself, kind of like I do sometimes with Call of Duty, I want to play the single player. I want to go through the levels. There's no real story, but it's not like Call of Duty with a story mode. But it's kind of telling a story of level to level, and there's competitions, and oh man, I was so happy with myself. There's a couple like jams is what they call them, where it's just basically a skateboard competition, like the X Games or something, where you have 3 heats and they pick the 2 best heats out of it, and I was able to get a 99.9.
Oh.
They didn't give me 100%, but I scored like 300,000 points, and like most of the guys were doing like 50, so it's like, yes, I did it.
Heck yeah.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun.
That's awesome. I'm definitely going to get around to playing that faux freakity show, because that's looks great too. I think it looks very good as far as the job they did updating the graphics.
I wonder if this is one that might end up coming to Game Pass at some point. I could see it being that. Yeah, it's interesting. I'm looking at the publisher. Literally, they must mean they mean the whole series, because I was gonna say it says Activision, Nokia, Konami, Activision, Blizzard, Asper, like so many.
We're all here. Nintendo.
But I guess they
Naughty
it just
Dog.
kind of passed hands around, over the years.
Yeah.
It's weird for Activision and Blizzard to be teamed up, and even I guess EA Mobile made the mobile Tony Hawk game.
Ooh, EA.
It's just funny. It just really those 2 first games, made it this like big franchise, and then I feel like it's really had a hard time finding its footing ever since then.
Oh my god.
Like we've kind of talked about this, Underground I think was the best kind of like revamping of the series.
Mm-hmm.
But for the most part, I feel like they were just kind of like on, unsettled footing, like never really finding like that solid game that like continued the series on. But
no,
I think this was a good move to get new good new blood into it, hopefully, to bring new people. Like they'll hear people like us who are older talking about it, and maybe some young people will be brought back into it, because this is a very inaccessible thing. These are the 2 best games, but they're so old at this point that I just no kids are going to pick this up, but this changes things a lot. So
I agree.
It's cool.
Absolutely. I'd love to see more of this, especially since they, as you said, finally got it right. They're like first good game of the HD generation, really. So that's great.
Mm-hmm.
Got anything else, man?
What you been up to?
Oh, okay. Well, quite a bit. I'm going to try to make this brief because I just been watching and playing a lot. So first and foremost, I finished Cobra Kai season 1 and 2. So now I guess we're waiting until next year for season 3. Cobra Kai is just a solid freaking show. It's it rests mainly on the writing and the story progression. It's crazy. The funny thing is like watching the show with my wife Amber. I have never seen her in all the years I've been with her be so into a show. I'm shocked. I was shocked because she's not like, I'm a giant Karate Kid fan. She's not like that at all. But like she is like loving it. She'll like talk about it after it's over, which is something she normally doesn't do. She'll be like, I wonder if this is going to happen. Well, what happened to this character? How's it? And stuff like that. And I'm like, oh, wow. It's something I'm not used to. And something happened to a character and like towards the end of season 2. And she was like, she like legitimately was like, it's not that kind of show. It's like the only time something like that really happens. But, but yeah, it's great. I highly recommend it, actually. It's breezy as it goes. You know, each episode's 30 minutes. It's a 10 episodes per season, so it's not a huge like time commitment. It's just well done. There's a few things that kind of started to bother me a little bit, just nitpicks in season 2. You know, there's adult characters and there's teenage characters, and I feel like they give kind of equal amount of time to them. Both some of the teenage characters are well done. They're mostly pretty good, but they do sometimes get into that like teenage drama kind of deal every now and then. It's not too ridiculous. These are characters that are for the most part reasonable, but yeah, sometimes it just goes into that where you're just
whining about him and her and this and that.
Yeah, it's mostly stuff where
CW
you're like
stuff.
Yeah, a lot of it is, man, this whole problem would be solved if you just had a normal conversation. You know, it's some of that stuff.
I hate that.
Yeah, there's some of that
stuff. If you just
stuff.
told them that, they wouldn't think that.
Exactly. There's a couple of that
I hate
stuff.
when dramas because of that.
Miscommunication, misunderstanding. There's some of that stuff that is annoying, but the plot progresses and they don't harp on anything for too long, it seems. So it doesn't really bog it down, but I feel like it can do with a little bit without some of that. But either way, I think it's a great show. Glad to have watched it. I went to the movies again and I saw the personal history of David Copperfield. So not much to say. This is a movie based on Charles Dickens' novel. It's just in the Victorian era. It's just the story of this guy's life. It's very unique in several different ways. One, it's just the feel of it. It's shot in in like a period piece, and it is a period piece, but it's shot like one. But sometimes the comedy, and that's the thing, I didn't really expect it to be this funny. Sometimes the comedy like feels like a Monty Python sketch, and like it's the way I'm saying that, it sounds like it's a disaster, but this movie is so like kind of charming and just so nice to watch. It's so solid, and it's not going to make money in theaters. We were the only ones in the theaters, me and Amber, and but we really enjoyed it. I loved it.
So sad to see it.
Yeah, it's so sad to see it. But when it comes on VOD, or if you feel like going to theater, check it out. It's a good movie. It's interesting. It's starring Dev Patel. You might know him from Slumdog Millionaire. But it's interesting. Kind of caught me off guard. It's one of the few movies that are like a period piece like that does similar to Hamilton, except obviously this is a film, blind casting where it just doesn't really matter, what the skin color of any character is. They'll just put them in there, and it's kind of cool. It adds a little bit of character to it. Obviously, everyone's still speaking in the way you'd expect someone to speak in the Victorian era, but yeah, it's good. It's just charming, and it's really funny. Like, I was laughing throughout most of it, so yeah, I didn't expect that. Okay, so lastly, I'm not going to say too much about this because there's going to be a podcast on this. I'm Thinking of Ending Things is a Netflix original movie, and it is one of the most interesting and probably one of the most depressing movies I've ever seen. Also confusing. It's very confusing. I had to like read some articles and watch a couple videos after I saw it to actually mostly understand what was going on there, but it's quite good. Just be warned. I mean, it deals with heavy issues. It does deal with suicide and a lot of existential thought, and there's some lighthearted stuff in there, I guess, but because the subject matter is so heavy, it doesn't really matter. It's not like the worst as far as like how it made me feel after. I've seen movies where it's made me feel worse, but
not much worse though.
Not much worse. But I think it was also helped. I watched it in 2 parts. I watched it a little bit before I went to sleep one night, and I finished it after work the next day. It's
actually a novel from 2016.
That's right. And so this is the guy who wrote and did shoot, what's that movie? Eternal Sunshine of a Spotless Mind. He's the guy behind that, and he's the one who brought this.
This is his first novel.
Yeah, and he brought that to the screen. That's the first novel. Wow, that's
Ian Reed.
That is impressive. But if I recommend it, I'll go ahead. There's going to be a podcast on it, but again, I'll just in short, I recommend it if you feel like you're up for that. I mean, because honestly, it's there's very little hope in the movie. It's very heady. Sometimes you can come out. I was able to come out with maybe some solutions. When something is so bad and you're like, oh God, and like the end, life sucks. And it's like you gotta at the end you come out with like some solutions that were maybe presented in the movie. We're like, okay, well if this wasn't there, maybe this is the problem this person's having. And it might spark good conversation, but at the same time, I can imagine if you're having problems with depression, I do not recommend you see this movie. I recommend you speak to someone because I don't think
I don't like it when movies do that.
Yeah.
I feel like I've always said this. I feel like movies should have a purpose, either education, adventure, entertainment, or like, just making the world a better place in some way, even if it's just entertainment. Like I feel like that's still making the world a better place. And I understand there's nothing wrong with being artistic, but I feel like you should at least give people some kind of solutions, especially when you're dealing with such a serious issue.
Yeah, I don't disagree with that. I feel like you want to even like movies that like aren't meant that there's some movies that aren't meant to be enjoyed, like Shawshank, but at the end of Shawshank, you feel like you've come somewhere.
There's a lot of hope at that movie.
There's some hope at the end. When you come out at the end of it, you're like, okay, we've gotten here. I feel like I have a new perspective on humanity that is maybe a little bit better, maybe, or put some good thoughts in my mind. Whereas this movie, no, there isn't that. It's very much a movie that's depressing, and it's not there to help anyone. But even though it has artistic merit, and there's a lot of merit there artistically, maybe emotionally. Maybe not so much. I think this movie is great on an intellectual level. It's not so great on an emotional level. So be forewarned if you're going to go into it. If you're like, if it seems interesting to you based on like the trailer or anything that I'm saying or whatever, then check it out. If you feel like you've got the fortitude emotionally and spiritually and everything. But even still, like after I watched that movie, I was like, okay, I'm gonna watch some happy stuff now. That's what I like to do. And every time I do that, I end up basically on the other side of it. I'm like, okay, I'm not in that place anymore. I'm watching something really happy and I'm good. So I watched some children's entertainment. I'm not gonna harp on this at all. I'm just gonna basically say I watched them. I watched the live action version of Dora the Explorer. That's right. It was on Hulu, and you know what?
I kind of wanted to watch that.
It was fine. It had some funny parts, and it's very interesting seeing them do what they do, with that character who's made for little kids and kind of bring her on the level of like a teenager. It's kind of interesting. And I watched Spies in Disguise, the animated movie where Will Smith is a spy.
Spies in the Sky.
No!
It's so confusing.
And he turns into a pigeon. Yeah, I mean, it's fine. It did the trick. I watched it with my wife and we had a couple chuckles and it was fun.
It is what the trailer says it is.
For the most part, it's probably maybe a little bit better than what the trailer kind of lets on. It's fine.
Yeah.
Sometimes you could watch that trailer and be like, this looks like the worst thing ever. It's not the worst thing ever. It's fine. It's not great, but it's fine. But yeah, that does it for me. I've been playing a few other things, but nothing too notable. So is that time, Luke?
Let's get to the news. Getting to the news.
Talk about that Xbox.
I probably shouldn't stay.
Yeah, we're getting it. It's in there. It's in there. So yeah, I mean, I think mainly what we're going to talk about today is all the Microsoft stuff that dropped.
The leaky boat that is Xbox.
Yes, and freak indeed. I mean, all this stuff.
I will say, sorry,
no, go ahead.
Just about the leaks. So Windows Central leaked this, but they leaked this with they also the help. I'm blanking on the guy's name, but Thurrott.com is a website. It is a website. It is
It is a
it is a
website.
Windows covering website, and Paul Thurrott. So another network that I like to listen to that has podcasts is Twit, and they have several shows, covering all kinds of tech topics, and one of them is Windows Weekly, and Paul Thurrott is on that show, so I'm well familiar with him. I've been listening to him for maybe 6 or 7 years now, and so he honestly is kind of the king of Windows, and so I will say, like,
Step down, Bill Gates.
Microsoft has to deal with something that I would say Sony, for the most part, does not have to deal with, which is that Sony is this company that has made a lot of things for a long time.
Mm-hmm.
And Microsoft is a company that's really only made a few things and really one thing for a long time, and that is Windows. And they made DOS before that. But they're the Windows company, or at least they have been. They're moving away from that in a major way now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But because they've been the Windows company, and they're in business like heavily, and they have been for a long time, they kind of have a cult following. And so because of that, there's a lot of Windows websites, there's a lot of media outlets that all they do is care about what is Microsoft doing.
Yeah.
And like Windows Central is the website that got this leak, and with the help of one of Paul Thurrott's lead reporters, I'm blanking on his name, but that guy that works on Thurrott.com always gets these leaks. Like he must have a lot of sources inside of Windows, or Microsoft. Look at me.
Look at you.
So I feel like that's something that Sony honestly doesn't have to deal with. Like there's a lot of people who are fans of PlayStation, but there's not really a lot of fans of like Sony the brand, whereas Microsoft, where like if they make a new Surface or anything, like there's all kinds of reporting and talking about. I mean, the tech websites are all over it. They're eating it up. So yeah, this isn't completely surprising to me that these leaks happen just because of that. Like people are always, I can remember like when the Surface was just a project like 15 years ago before it became what it is now. And like, there were leaked images from inside of Microsoft back then. And so it's just like, I feel like they're like, there's like 6 guys holding the gate shut. And then there's like this just crowd of people like pounding on the door, like trying to get the leaks. Whereas like Sony, it's like people, they really want to know all that information, but there's not like the tenacious, reporters with like sources inside of Sony and stuff. It's just a different thing. Like there's nothing wrong with either one. It's just Microsoft has to deal with like a different set of problems. So, I don't know. I'm already jumping into it, but basically that all to say, like, I was really frustrated when this all happened, but yeah, I think it's understandable that it happened with the situation that they're in, and yeah, it happened.
It sure did. I mean, it was a holiday weekend, so it all leaked out in the middle of the night, leading up to Tuesday, I believe, and it just, I woke up Tuesday morning to go to work, and it was just all there. Here it is. Here's the whole kit and caboodle, like this console that was codenamed at first Project Lockhart. Now it's actually revealed in full as the Series S, and here it is. Here's the price. Here's when it's coming out.
Yeah.
All the things, and also with.
And then the next day they confirm the X.
Yep. And then here's the X price, and here's that, and this is when it's coming out, and here's where pre-orders are. So, yeah, let's break it all down. Apparently, what happened was, according to Phil Spencer, he said that they were planning on all this happening this week. So this week was originally supposed to be the week where they would announce everything. So I wonder...
Probably have a buttoned-up show and everything.
Yeah, possibly. And I wonder if that's like kind of changed things for Sony as well, because we're recording this on a Monday. It's going up Tuesday, and so Wednesday will be Sony's PS5 Showcase. So I wonder if that moved things for them too. It's possible. I don't know. But anywho.
Yeah.
So here it all is. We got the Series S and the Series X.
Break it down for anybody who doesn't know, Jordan.
Ever. First you got the X. It's $500. And here's the Series S. $300. Holla. Okay, I don't know. Yeah,
September 22nd.
September 22nd.
That's an important update we got.
Yeah, that's when we get our pre-orders. That's when we can pre-order the thing. You got a couple options. You can buy it outright, or they've done the planning, the payment plan in the past, where basically you just pay it off.
Yeah, that I've wanted to. I listen to these podcasts like, oh, I wish I could say something right now, but so many of these shows they've like been like, yeah, so we got Xbox All Access. Like, that's not news.
Yeah,
that's been out for years.
It's been out
like
for a while.
I guess the news is that they officially announced like the next gen version of that or whatever. But like they were talking about back in like October. I remember when I was looking at doing it, you buy an Xbox then, like an Xbox One X, and the Xbox One X version of the Xbox All Access came with an upgrade path to the next Xbox when it came out this fall. So last fall, you get an Xbox One X, you get to play it for a year, and then you trade in that, and then it was like it ended up, the numbers didn't work out for me. I thought it was a little bit more. I just wanted to buy it outright, and it would have cost me a little bit more, and I didn't need another Xbox. It just would have been, that would have been nice to be playing, in HDR or whatever for the last 12 months. But yeah, like that's all been out, and they've even, like I said, they've even been talking about the next gen like upgrade back then. So it wasn't a surprise at all to me. It's kind of funny, like listening to people like, wow, this is very interesting. This Xbox All Access, this makes it very, like, what? This has been out for years, literally years. And so, I mean, I think it's a really good offering. It's just funny that people are like, now this is like getting media attention at this point.
I understand that a lot, because it's the first time we've had this with a brand new console like this. I mean, obviously it came out, I think, around the time the X came out, right? And that was a revision of the same console. And so now we have this next generation. So it's an interesting, now we can enter into the next generation with that price point, paying that way if you want. So I guess people are paying more attention to it now. But yeah, it's been around for probably a couple years at this point, right?
Yeah, it's been making it affordable for people for a long time. Yeah. And I feel like if this is something that's so intriguing for people, then it should have been talked about back then, and it should be continued to talk about when we talk about next gen or any console buying. If we're having that conversation, then that needs to be in it, because Xbox is the only one who's offering that. So let's lay all the cards out, I guess is what I'm saying.
Yeah, so I mean, it's basically like this zero APR kind of deal where it's like you get it it's a 2-year plan. Yeah, it's $24.99 for the Series S and $35.99. I might be getting that wrong a little bit for the Series X, and I think these include Game Pass and Xbox Gold. And so over the course of 2 years, you basically pay for all that, and I guess you probably continue to pay for Game Pass and all that stuff after the fact. But that's pretty great for someone who just isn't like, that is the reason that's so good, especially now because a lot of people are strapped for cash out there because the times we live in. I mean, some people are like, it'll be an interesting proposition to do as a young person who may not have a full-time job and not have like $600, $500 or even $300 at hand, to be like, well, I know for sure I can pay $25.99 per month, so I can do that. And so, hey, the door's open for a lot more people to jump into next gen, which is pretty crazy. With
everyone should do this. Why is all the console manufacturers not doing this? That's what I don't understand. Apple's been doing this for much longer than Xbox has been doing this, and I use it every year, and I love it. It's great.
Do you know anyone who has done this with the Xbox, Luke? Have you talked to anyone?
I haven't. I know our friend of the show, CJ, is thinking about it.
I would love to know what his experience is getting into it, and like what the contracts say and how it works. I mean, do they run your credit? Is it like something like financing a couch? Yeah. Like how you go to a furniture store and you finance a piece of furniture?
It's actually the same company that does the iPhone, Citizen One, because I've gone through the whole Citizen One. So I believe it's the exact same process that I did for upgrading my iPhone year after year. It's basically you're buying a credit card for the amount that the console or phone costs.
Yeah,
That's basically the idea.
that makes
And
sense.
you're paying it off at an agreed upon APR, which at least for the iPhone it's 0. I think this is 0 as
It's
well.
0, yeah. That's great. I mean, it kind of it's different. I don't think the kid or whatever, the college kid might not be able to do that without maybe the help of a parent to kind of sign off on that. But still, there's a lot of families that are wondering what like maybe one of the spouses is out of a job. What am I going to do for my kid for Christmas? This might open that door up for them. So I think that's awesome. That's great. I mean, obviously it's not charity. They're going to have to pay it off throughout the course of a couple years. They're now injected into the Xbox ecosystem, but still, I think it's just a great option to have. Options are good, especially when it comes to paying for a new next gen console.
Yeah, I mean, $500 for the One X it's a lot of money.
Yeah, absolutely. So. What were you surprised at all? What were your reactions when you heard the price of these consoles?
It was kind of where I thought it would be. The thing, I don't know. I hate saying this, but I was a little disappointed at how where the specs were on the 1S or Series S, whatever. I thought it was going to be able to do a little bit more. Like I really like the idea of the Series S, but I think the specs seem a little low to me. I think that the fact that it doesn't play 4K games is totally reasonable, and I think that is where the market is at for probably the majority of people.
Yeah.
I think the majority of people don't care about that much, but I do think the thing that next gen on both consoles, I think the two things is frame rate and load times. I think those are the big things that are going to change people's gaming experience. And I don't know, from what I was reading, I wanted it to be able to definitely do 120 frames, and it seemed like in some cases it could, in some cases it couldn't. So I wanted them to at least give it enough horsepower to where it was like, 60 frames at 1440 all the time, no matter what, any game, any game that's available on at least, and 120 frames on the games that it's available is guaranteed. Mm-hmm. It's like leave it up to the manufacturer, the publishers, developers, whoever. It's like, if you guys are making it available, we can do it. Like that's the confidence that I want to hear. Whereas the Xbox One X, like I don't feel like there's any doubt about that. It's like, if you can make it, we can run it basically.
Would you have rather it been a little bit more powerful and it be maybe $100 less than the X instead of it being $2 like it is now, and then being maybe a $400 console instead of a $3?
I think it was very important for them to keep it at 300. Mm-hmm. So if that's what they can make for 300, then I think they made the right choice.
Okay. Yeah, I'm kind of where your head's at a little bit. The specs are, I was listening to the guys over at Digital Foundry kind of breaking it down. They're impressed by it overall, but the system memory is what gives them a little bit of concern.
Yeah, I think that's what's going to hold up the frame rates.
Yes. But still, I mean, talking about it, this will be the go-to for families, kids, who only want to play Madden or play 2K or play Fortnite. I mean, this is
I think there's, like I was saying, I think there's a lot of people like you're kind of harping on. I don't think it matters to them. They want to be able to play the new games, and they're going to look good. It's like we've kind of talked about this. It's like at a certain point, the game looks good enough that nobody really cares that much. You and I care because we just care. Like, this is important to us. But most people are just like, just give me something that plays games. Like, I just want to play Fortnite. I just want to play Call of Duty. I just want to play Madden, and make it look good for me. But past that, like, I don't care if it doesn't do Dolby Vision. I don't care if it,
which I think it does,
do Atmos out or, well, it's like, I'm okay if it doesn't do. Really, the 4K thing to me, it's not that big a deal, really.
Yeah.
For the 4K specifically, like, I don't know. Even, I have a 4K TV downstairs, and honestly, I don't know when it's playing 4K content and when it's playing HD content. I really don't. Like, I will say that the frame rate makes such a difference. I know that. I've seen it. Like, when you turn, like, specifically, what is the game the cartoony shooter that came out last like September. It was
Shoot.
kind of the Fortnite competitor by the guys that did Titanfall.
I know what you mean. I can't
Yeah,
think of what it is, though. I know
man,
exactly what you mean as far as what it is. Apex. No.
Apex. So that game, I noticed it a lot in that game when I'm like turning quickly. There's a lot of, I don't know the technical terms, screen tearing, what just frame lag. It's just there's so
Yeah.
much blur basically to where I I really enjoy it in a game when I'm able to like turn and survey my surroundings as I'm turning. But some games when you turn, it's so blurry you have to stop moving and then like look. And that's, especially important when you're playing like battle royale games because you're constantly checking to see if somebody's about to snipe you on the hill or something.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So yeah, I'm just excited to be able to like have just like all the frames while I'm turning and just looking, and it just I think that's going to make all the difference. Like no blur. I'm so sick of blur. Ugh, blur is the enemy of shooters.
Motion blur. We need it, right? Um, yeah, I know what you're saying. Like when I'm playing certain games, with the PlayStation Pro, there with certain games there are options. They give you like some options that you can switch on and off. For instance, a game like Shadow of the Colossus or even Shadow of Tomb Raider, if you want to pick another Shadow game, where it'll say, okay, you can't have it all yet. We're not there. We're not in the next gen. So here, pick your poison. You're either going to do 1080 60 or you're going to have 4K visuals with 30 frames locked. What do you want?
Yeah.
And there's times that I'm torn. I mean, there's are times where I'm like, wow, it is really nice playing this game in 60. I mean, I'm not playing a Twitch shooter, but still, there's something appealing, especially in those 3D third person games, to like see the characters' movements and like such fluidity with all that those frames. It's really appealing to the eye, and so
I sure hope we don't have to make that choice very often in these new consoles.
I
Like, we're
hope.
paying
I mean,
$500. Like we're supposed to be post choices after that.
yeah, I mean, 60 frames should be. At a certain point, 4K is going to be the standard, and 60 frames probably is too. I mean, this 120, I think that's probably going to be the standard for shooters. A lot of other games probably not. But yeah, I think
60 is a big upgrade from 30, and 120 is just
yeah,
ridiculous. But
yeah, it is.
60, I think, is the most, excuse me, the most noticeable.
Yeah, absolutely. When you get to 120, it gets to the point where you're not able to notice as much. Like I'm not even
Yeah.
sure. Like sites like YouTube you can even like do a 120 frame mode
I don't
and
think
like
so.
view it. So it's like
Yeah.
I don't think it's thing. I know PC gaming is there obviously, but yeah, here's hoping.
120 like doubles the amount of space that a video takes up. I know that. Like
Jeez,
iPhone has a
jeez.
thing when you like record because it goes up to all the way to 240 recording, and
Mm-hmm.
yeah, it's like crazy. Like a minute long film in 4K 240 is like 400 megabytes.
Oh my god, for a freaking minute, that's ridiculous.
Yeah.
But yeah, I feel like we're gonna talk about the S a lot here because obviously the stuff with the X is known. It's a known quantity other than the price and the launch date, which we kind of had speculations on anyways. So it's the S that's the interesting thing here. There's a bit of a conversation online about backwards compatibility with the Series S. How talking about like what version of that backwards compatible game is it going to be, and it turns out like if you're playing an Xbox One game or if you're playing a 360 version, it'll basically be the Xbox One version of it and not the Xbox One X version of it, which makes sense to me. If it doesn't run 4K, why on earth would it download a 4K patch? Probably what it would do is do something to boost the frame rate, I'd imagine, right?
Yeah, I guess so. I'm trying to read some more details on that kind of stuff. This is where a presentation would have been a lot better.
Yeah, of course.
Where hopefully more stuff would have been like detailed for us. But
It seems like yeah, exactly. It seems like a lot of time will tell with a lot of stuff like this. Just to get this out here, Luke, I'm not going to be buying an Xbox at launch. I'll get a PlayStation at launch and probably down the road looking at getting an Xbox maybe when the price drops for the first time. Which one are you going to be getting?
Oh, the X for sure.
Okay, yeah, I figured.
Yeah, I've had the cash for like a year.
Yeah, I
mean,
same. I was like, okay, I got it. Just
Not
give
a
it to me. Give it
not
to
a
me.
problem for me to buy it at all.
Yeah, I figured I just wanted to make it the official thing now on the podcast, and it's a very unique situation, I think, here at the Xbox's launch. I don't believe, you can correct me if I'm wrong, that there's ever been a launch with two separate consoles. I know there's been ones with like, oh, this one has a hard drive, or oh, this one has a terabyte, and this one has 500 gigs or something like that.
I know like PS3 had like so many different SKUs with different hard drive sizes.
Oh, so many.
Remember
and
that.
One of them was backwards compatible with PS2 games, and some of them weren't. Those are rare these days.
Yeah.
That's a weird thing. But as far as the specs of the console, I think this is the first time this has
Have we ever had a $300 like home console? That's what I was wondering.
A Nintendo has the market on that, pretty much.
A GameCube?
The GameCube, I think, was 300. The Switch is 300. Yeah, I think they've pretty much always stayed under 300.
The only thing with the Switch is I would say it leans more towards a mobile console than a home console.
Well, yeah.
So I was saying more like a desktop style like home console, which I guess the GameCube would be the exception. But other than the GameCube,
the Wii was, I think the Wii was either 300 or 350. I'm pretty sure. Let me look. I'm looking up the Wii U's. The Wii U's was 300 was the base model, and then there was a 350 version of the Wii U.
that's amazing. Nintendo was able to keep it that low for something that had all this new motion tech in it.
Yeah. I mean, I guess maybe that wasn't as effective at. Oh wow, yeah. I'm sorry. I'm trying to find the Wii launch price. I'm actually really interested in it. The Wii cost $250. Yeah, $250.
Launch?
I think so. I could be wrong about that, but that's crazy. They
No
really
wonder it sold so many.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm looking at it. So the Wii cost $250. The PlayStation 3 launched at $500 and $600.
Yeah. Wow.
The 360 cost $300 and $400. And the Wii included a game, which I'm guessing was Wii Sports.
Wii Sports. Yeah.
Yeah.
Couple things I'm wondering. So the pre-orders start on the 22nd. That's next week. That is next week.
I wish we'd had details on that. That's one thing I've been like Googling to try to find out. Like, am I going to have to stay up late?
Yeah.
Do I have to wake up early? What is the deal? Like, I want to know the deal.
That's exactly what I'm wondering is what can you expect as far as the time? I mean, I can imagine maybe midnight, but I have no idea. That would be really frustrating if it was
midnight would be fine. Just no 3 a.m., please.
There's no 3 a.m.
The untouched hour.
And no, we don't know yet. Oh, I guess it's 2:30 p.m. and it's like, oh, it's here. Crap. And you're like on, in the shower or something. I don't know. Just don't do anything like that. Have a time. Have a time, please.
The old shower pre-order.
The old shower pre-order, the nap. It's worse. The nap where you get out, I'll wake up. Huh? Oh my God. Oh my God!
My life has led up to this moment.
Yeah, don't do that, please.
Frantically. What is the passcode to my phone? I can't remember.
Yeah, you're typing in your freaking credit card information as quick as you can.
What's the CVV code?
Oh,
What
boy.
is it?
I mean, I think PlayStation has turned up the heat for a lot of its fans too, because they have also not only they were like, okay, they were like at first they're like, don't worry everybody, we'll tell you when the pre-order is, and everyone was like, okay. But now we're going to have this weird email that might come at any point in time. And so...
Oh, come on.
Dubious email.
This is something I will say that Apple has done a really good job year after year. They come out, they have a presentation, they explain to you what's happening, they tell you when the phone's coming out, and then it just comes out, and it happens the same way every year since 2008.
Yeah.
And yeah.
How it
I've
should
always
be.
gotten my phone. I don't think I've ever had it sold out where I couldn't get my phone.
That's awesome.
You usually have to wake up and buy it immediately, but if you do, You have a phone.
I don't think that's
That
ever
I
happened
am.
to me.
I'm a little nervous. I'm honestly a little nervous.
Yeah.
I'm a little nervous. I won't get one.
I'm
I
nervous
definitely
about.
have a little bit of fear of that.
Yeah, it's the bad situation's either going to be something like this. Either the sites are jacked up and it ends up being some weird luck of the draw. Whoever gets into the site gets it, or like again, the nap or shower situation. Okay, full disclosure here. All right, so we're talking about.
I'm assuming that's not going to happen since they've already said
Yeah,
when it's going to happen.
I would highly assume. Since there's going to be this presentation happening on Wednesday for PlayStation, it's happening at 4. I get off work at 4. I basically was like, okay, I'm not going to take lunch. I'm going to get off a little early, get home, because if they drop those emails when they announce everything, because that would make the most sense to me, I'm going to be there. I'll be there, baby. Ready and raring to freaking go. Or unless I don't get an email. I mean, there's always that, because there were like some people will get an email and some people won't based on your PlayStation activity.
Yeah.
What?
I guess the question was always, is that just marketing? Were they actually going to do it that way?
It could be. It really could be. I'm wondering if this is all this big, like, the scam where they're like, we had enough consoles all along. We're going to add this. Nintendo famously does this. There's a big controversy about how they made Mario 3D All-Stars limited. Like, the run is limited to create, a lot of people saying, false scarcity. And so I don't know if PlayStation and Microsoft are above that, but I don't know. It would be
Probably not.
Probably not. We had plenty of them all along. We just made you all panic. Panic buy your consoles.
It wouldn't be the first time.
Yeah, that is true. That is true. And you know what? Whatever. I'm going to fall for it anyways. Is there any other big information here? I mean, we didn't even mention this, that the S is, in fact, digital only. So
yeah,
there's that, which...
That, I think, is the one caveat to all of this, because I was going to say earlier that I think that if you want an Xbox and you're not someone who is us, basically, who's like, just like, I don't know, super strict on like having all the best things and like it's super important to you. If it's more of like yeah, I like playing video games every once in a while and I do it to blow off some steam. I mean, not that that's far off from what I do, but if it's not like something that you really enjoy doing consistently, if it's more of a casual every once in a while, you absolutely should get the Series X.
Yeah.
And honestly, other than the Sony exclusives, I would say most people should just get the Series X just because of the price, if they're in that category. I mean, if they're a serious gamer, you probably should just get both consoles because you'll enjoy games from both people. And yeah, but like if you're just someone who's casual, like getting a Series S and having Game Pass is just so much cheaper than like having to invest in games and all that mess. Like it just, yeah, it makes sense. Like if, my son who is coming, for him, like if he was, 12 years old or something and he was, interested in getting a console.
Did you just reveal the gender of your baby to me on this
I haven't
podcast?
told you that?
No.
I've told everybody that. I'm sorry.
Oh, jeez.
I'm sorry.
Awesome. Great.
I thought you already knew.
No, I didn't know the gender. That's awesome.
I really didn't.
Cool.
I didn't realize I hadn't told you.
Let's share this moment with the world.
Well, there you go.
Fantastic.
Yep. But yeah, for him, in the future, if we were in this same situation we're in right now, 10 years from now or whatever, I would probably get him his own Series S because he's not going to tell a difference. It's plenty of gaming for, especially a younger, preteen, teen age gamer. Like I said, they're not going to see the big differences and they're going to be able to play their games and have fun. Mm-hmm. So I think in that way, I think it's great. It's just for the nitpicky people like me that I think would be a little disappointed with it. But for the most part, I would suggest that everyone should just buy that console. It's just, yeah, it's a great offering.
That's exactly right.
The price is a big deal.
I had a conversation with someone. I have a buddy at work, and he's gonna buy the Xbox. And when the news dropped, he was like, "I think I'm gonna go for the S." I was like, "Dude." I talked to him. I was like, that's fine, especially if it's like a price thing. That I get that, but if you have it and you're interested in doing it, man, I know how much you play games. You're gonna have this thing for 6 years plus, and it's gonna be your investment into gaming for the better half of a decade. I would just go for it if you can. Obviously, if you can, if you're strapped for cash. I mean, that's the same.
If you care about any of those things, then go for the X. Yeah.
Exactly. But if you're strapped for cash, yes, and you want to get in, you don't want to wait until you have the money to get the X. And yeah, I get it. But, just say if you have the dough and you're invested into gaming at all, dude.
There's always, if you are short on cash, there's always buying the cheaper one and then reselling it later and upgrading later. There's always that. I mean, yes, you will lose some money, but for a while, I think there's going to be a pretty good, secondhand market for these systems. So I could see you getting 200 to 250 back if you sold it in 6 months when you have a little bit more money and go for the full $500 console.
Yeah.
Or maybe wait till next Black Friday and, maybe there's $100 off or something.
And also it'll be fine now if you're going to do that later, because I feel like, as we talk about often, it takes a while for the generation to kind of utilize its own power. So it's going to be probably a year or two maybe before you see like the X really just flexing its muscles and you're like, whoa, this looks really good on the X. It's going to be a while before something like that it just really blows your mind. And at that point, you're going to be glad you had an X, I think.
Yeah.
Compared to the S.
That's right. Oh, I'm so excited.
Yeah, this is exciting, man. We've been talking about this for months, and now guess what? Pre-orders for Xbox are a week away, and Sony's not going to be far behind. It's great. I'm just glad that we're finally getting here, and I'll just be once the thing is pre-ordered, that's when it's like, signed, sealed, delivered. That's when I'm like, all right, great, it's done. You know what I mean? Now it's just lean back and let it happen to you. I'm just gonna let it happen to me. So. Yeah, what I'll probably do is if I end up getting it through Sony or anything like that, I'll probably take the day off when it's like the estimated delivery day, because Lord knows in my apartment I am not going to have a big old box sitting in front of my door.
That says Sony PlayStation 5 in like 45-point font.
Here it is, boys.
Brand new Sony PS5 console inside.
They're sold out at this point.
Yeah. Probably worth 5 times what he paid.
Yeah, no, I'll be sitting there, probably on the curb, arms crossed, just arms open.
Oh, it's just one of those things that I feel like we've been waiting for a lifetime at this point.
Yeah, no, yeah.
I at least just want to pre-order so I don't have to like think about that anymore.
That's exactly right.
It's coming. It's coming. It's going to be mine. I've paid my money. That's the other thing. I wonder, Jordan, are we going to pay up front? That was something CJ had asked me, and I wasn't sure the answer. I don't know if you know at all. He was wondering, do we pay up front or do we pay when it arrives? Or
I
can't remember what happened.
It depends on where you're getting it.
It's been 7 years since I bought the one, so I can't remember.
I mean, if I was buying it, I know, like, for instance, if you were, say, buying it from Amazon or Best Buy, the answer is when it starts to prepare to ship, it'll leave your account, come back, and then it will leave finally when it prepares to ship. If you're getting it from Sony or Microsoft, I have no freaking idea. If I just pulled the earphone out, I have no freaking idea what they're gonna do.
I kind of was thinking CJ and I, yet again, he's getting a lot of shout outs this week.
Yo, CJ.
We were talking about the fact that you probably like I said last time, I ordered it through Microsoft. You probably should just buy it from a third party, like especially if you have a credit card like I do through Best Buy. Like I have the money, but I might as well get some rewards or something for spending $500, right? I mean,
yeah.
The only other reason would be if they're on short supply, maybe they run out of pre-orders that night or whatever. and maybe Microsoft had a lot more pre-orders that they could sell me.
Mm-hmm.
Hopefully I can just switch websites real quick and be like, oh shoot, that's sold out, go back to Microsoft.
Absolutely. I mean, honestly, there's a part of me that would rather, definitely do something from like probably Best Buy, because I would do store pickup most likely and just wait there at midnight. Freaking just. But if I get that email from Sony, I will go that direction, just because it's like that'll take some of the stress away. Be like, here's your pre-order, gift wrapped just for you, and they'll be like, gimme. But in lieu of that, I mean, I feel fine getting it from Best Buy or whatever, or I'd get it with Amazon if I need be, but I'd feel better about getting it with Best Buy, getting it store pickup with delays and such with shipping, and how that goes, and me having to wait in the curb, all that stuff.
Yeah.
Exciting times. If you are who you think we are, who we hope you are. Never too late for a Matrix reference. But anyways.
That's great.
Yeah, but
Matrix is coming, Jordan.
Yeah, it is.
We've been seeing set photos.
That's right.
Little side note as we close.
Matrix.
Yeah. I guess they had been filming before, and it seemed like maybe they were even doing some filming now.
Yeah.
Hopefully. I don't know.
I think they restarted their filming wherever it is that they are filming. But yeah, Matrix, whatever R word it's going to be.
There was like a video on TikTok that I sent Jordan that was like Carrie-Anne Moss and Keanu Reeves like riding on some kind of like motorcycle, like filming rig. And it was just so awesome. You guys like, yeah, Matrix. And they're just like, hey, how you doing?
Yo.
Kind of thing.
Exactly.
I am the one. You're right.
That's right. I'm the one. I don't know. He might be not the one anymore. But anyways.
Ooh. Scary.
Don't think about that, Jordan.
He's the other one.
Yeah, he's the other one now. He's just the other one. He's one of the ones. Anyway, I think that does it. I mean, this Wednesday we'll get some news for PlayStation 5, see what they're going to do. Beyond that, I mean, we'll have the 22nd, that is Monday, right?
This is a weird thing, but did
Tuesday.
you know that the Xbox Series X is 8K ready? I'm reading that on the PC Mag's breakdown of the power.
Yeah, I forgot about that. But I forgot about that.
That's
but
insane.
That is crazy. We're probably ways away. It's like America.
I wonder if that'll even happen in this generation.
Right? Is it just there in case you need it? Because like America as a whole, the majority of Americans don't even have 4K.
Yeah.
So how
like
long is it gonna take?
70% or something.
It's going to be a point where it's like you go to the store and you spin around and point at a TV. It's most likely going to be a 4K TV you're pointing at.
Yeah.
And so a lot of people will start trickling into the whole 4K thing, and when they're LEDs.
I still haven't bought one.
Yeah.
For my main TV.
For your main, you have one in your room. I mean, it's like when these TVs are lasting much longer than standard definition TVs did, they'd start to give out, and you'd see them.
That's true.
Huge difference. And so, I don't know. It's going to be a lot longer before.
We've had our TV since 2012, I think.
Yeah, dang.
And it's a great TV. It's held up great.
Yeah, same. I've had my Vizio regular HD one that I have in the room for so long. But 8K? 8K?
Yeah.
They're not even really being sold.
I wonder if that's gaming or if it's like movie watching. I do wonder. 8K ready could be anything. It's so ambiguous.
We could do it if we wanted, but who knows if it's going to happen.
We could do something with something. I don't even know.
Currently,
we could play an 8K file if you downloaded it onto it. I don't know.
Put that thumb drive in there.
It'd be at 4 frames, but we could play it.
Oh, fantastic. Can't wait for that to play my 8K Kingdom Hearts game. 8K Kingdom Hearts game. I don't know what I'm talking about.
When they re-release all the games in 8K, charge us $60 for them.
Exactly. All right. Well, I guess that does it. And Monday we'll know more about PlayStation and we'll be one day away from pre-orders at that point. Maybe we'll do a live stream waiting for midnight together. And I'm just like, here it comes, Luke. Here it comes.
Oh, man.
Here it comes, Luke. You ready? You got your phone? You got your computer out? You ready?
Just sitting here streaming, just talking about the most ridiculous things.
We're streaming.
Like we
get
always
tired.
do.
Yeah. It's the
Talking about whatever until the consoles come.
par for the course, my podcasting friend. But anywho, I guess that does it. And, we'll see you guys next week. And by the way, I'll be streaming this Thursday. I'm not going to do Kingdom Hearts, but because I'll be upgrading the computer probably that evening. But I'm actually going to do a midnight stream for Mario 3D All Stars because I'm really excited. And I do what I want.
Yeah, that's great. You're able to hook in your Switch
Yeah,
into
definitely.
your streaming setup?
Yep, absolutely.
That's awesome.
100%. But anyways, we have been improperly packaged. We have never closed out the show that way, but it felt good at the time. Luke's
We are
been
always very improperly packaged.
very. You're gonna get
That's
it.
why you come to hear us.
The contents may differ from episode to
Yeah.
episode.
That's what you get.
That's what you get. Well, all right. I'll see you next time, man. Good time.
Good time. See you later.
Bye.